Impact Project, we are asking everybody to think of something that you want to do in your community, some sort of project. It can be artsy, it can be outreach, it can be something that fills a need in your community. It could literally be anything. And this workshop series is really about how do we as organizers just like take this idea and this vision and bring it into make that reality. And so this is the third of 6 workshops. And so it's just kind of coming in for the spring into the summer of 2023. And we want to be able to help you out. And today I'm excited because we have 2 amazing workshop presenters in Jaclyn Brown and Johnny Martinez, both out in Arizona, doing some amazing work, some change makers and doers, just get it done. And so they're really going to be talking about creating strategy. Sometimes we got to think stuff out. Sometimes we just got to go and do it, and then we hit a barrier. And how do we change and pivot to overcome those barriers? And so that's really the focus for today. I wanted to. So I hope you've all been thinking about what your community impact project is. We're asking everybody to fill out the community impact project form that I just put in the chat. If you have not filled that out yet, please do. It'll help you with like brainstorm ideas. And it asks you questions specifically to kind of get you unstuck. And even if you don't have all of it kind of mapped out, it's okay. Just fill out that form. And the other thing that I wanted to just put out there that will help you, not just only with the impact projects, but just moving forward with mobilized recovery. And we're gonna have National Day of Service. We'll have more about that soon. But I wanted to share this real quick. If you go to recoveryvoices.org.com, sorry. There is a button here that says request grassroots support. And the brand new program that we've been really training some coaches, you can actually request a recovery organizing coach. And so if you are stuck in your organizing and you're like, I can't figure something out and I just need to run some ideas by somebody, you can request one-on-one coaching with somebody that's available and that's been doing this for a while. And so it's really easy to fill this out. I'm going to put this in the chat as well. There's a lot of different reasons why somebody would request an organizing coach. And we kind of list that out. And then there's a really simple form that you can fill out on the website. And you can go there anytime, recoveryvoices.com. And we've really been working with coaches over the past couple months to do these sessions. So you can request 1, 2, or 3 sessions at a time. And the last thing I want to say about that is that they are not like peer recovery sessions. This is just specifically for organizing. So you have to have some sort of organizing goal and project that you're working on. So please go to recoveryvoices.com to request a organizing coach. It's an amazing group, and we have some people that are available now to do sessions with you. And so with that, I'm going to turn things over. It's so good to see you all. This is my favorite time where I get to see a lot of faces. And so if you want to join us off of on video, please do. I'm going to turn things over to the Family Caucus chairperson, Jaclyn Brown and Johnny Martinez.
Hi, everyone. Time out. Is my internet slow? Am I like matching what I'm talking? Or does that make sense?
You're okay.
Okay, cool. Because Aaron, you were frozen the whole time, and all my screen shut down. I was like, this is the perfect time for this. Anyway, hi everyone. My name's Jaclyn. I am the chair for the Family Caucus. I am in Mesa, Arizona, and I am going to be talking with you guys about strategy and planning. And towards the end, not towards the end, let's be honest, like halfway through, Johnny is going to talk about his nonprofit which I love, and he started on his own. And so to kind of give you an idea of how I know it seems very intimidating to do some sort of project in your community, Johnny is definitely someone, and he'll explain, we'll just do it. And if it doesn't work, we'll pivot and do something else. So I have some slides. I swear they're not super boring. So I'm going to share. Hold, please. All right. Can everybody see this? Yep, cool. All right. So here's our agenda for today. We're just going to do an overview of strategy and power. Questions you want to definitely ask yourself about the problem you're wanting to address in your community, some criteria for a strategic goal, creating a map of resources, and then we're going to talk to Johnny. We're just going to have a good time and hang out, and yeah. So what is strategy? Now, I don't think anyone can come off mute. So if you want to drop in the chat, when you think of strategy, what do you typically think of?
Or if you want to virtually raise your hand, we can.
Oh yeah, I can. Yeah.
Drop mute too.
Oh, cool. Thanks. Executing a plan. Yes. A to B, getting something done. Goals. Okay, now it's going faster. Okay, planning for success. Well thought out plan. And these are all absolutely correct. For this definition, what we will think about is turning what you have, which would be resources, into what you need, which is power, to get the change, or not to get the change, to get what you want, which is the change. So when we're thinking about this, when we're thinking about resources, power, change, what is power? And I feel like a lot of times when you think of power, it's not necessarily like a good thing. What do you think power is? If you want to raise your hand or drop in the chat or humor me. Ability to influence. Yep. Strength behind actions. Yes, I like that. Control of the narrative, ability to get things done. Yes, yes. Where the resources may be. Exactly. Because I feel like a lot of time when people think of power, power might equal money, and we can't do anything without money. So exactly. Funding, money, all of that. This is actually this definition that I found, I really, really like, because it doesn't put it in like a negative connotation. Power, properly understood, is the ability to achieve purpose. It is the strength required to bring about social, political, or economic changes. In this sense, power is not only desirable, but necessary in order to implement the demands of love and justice. And I love that because it's not thinking in the way of like, oh, you have power, you have control. It's talking about bringing love and justice together to do something good. So when we're thinking about power, power is relational. So for example, if Johnny has let's say Johnny has a golf cart and I want to go golfing, but I don't want to walk around because we're in Arizona, it's 99 degrees and I'm not walking around. So if the golf cart who has the power in this situation? You have a 50% chance. Johnny does. Yes, because he has the golf cart and he has the thing that I need. Now, in the other sense, if you're going to someone and you need something of theirs, typically, what do you think would be something that you need to, there would need to be like some sort of collateral, like I can give you this and then you can give me that. So when you think about that, it's all in relation. Yeah, thanks, Johnny. Can't I just borrow your golf cart, bro? So 4 questions to think about when you're thinking about power is, what do my people want? And when I say my people, it's the people that is your constituency. These are the people that you are trying to help, assist, make better. Who has the resources to enable us to get what we want? Again, we always may think of money as resources, but maybe you need, like, for example, We do harm reduction. Maybe you need someone's parking lot just so the cops don't come and, kick us out. Maybe we just need people to allow us to be in their space. People, exactly. What do they want? So again, with it being relational, is there something that they want back? A lot of times there is, but there are situations like Johnny will explain where they don't necessarily want anything back and they just want to help out. And what resources do we have that they need? So basically sitting here and saying, all right, what can we offer back to them? So the problem overview, when you're looking at the problem within your community, you're thinking, all right, how am I going to address this? So these are some questions that you can ask yourself. Who are my people? Who are the people that you are wanting to help out? And what exactly is their problem? So in this situation, my problem is I want to go golfing, but I don't have a golf cart and I don't want to walk around. How would the world look if their problem was solved? Well, I wouldn't be overheated. I could go enjoy playing golf and I could have a good time. Why hasn't their problem been solved? Because I don't have a golf cart and I don't have the money to buy a golf cart. Not everyone has access to a golf cart. And what would it take to solve their problem? Johnny, short term, Johnny can loan me a golf cart, but it would be pretty cool if I could just like buy my own golf cart and then I don't have to bother him. So you can have like a short-term solution to a problem that will get you by, but eventually you may want to find something that's more long-term. So some criteria for a strategic goal, because you can have a problem. Now we figure out the problem. Ideally, you want to have goals to get to the solution for that problem. Because if you think about it, are you going to sit there and, hey, I want to start a syringe exchange program? Is it something like the goal is let's just start it? You have to have kind of like mini goals along the way. So breaking it down into smaller chunks can seem less intimidating in terms of achieving your bigger picture. So focusing on a single strategic outcome is always helpful. And it just kind of helps scare the idea, or it doesn't scare you as much if you're looking at a smaller piece of it. Something that motivates participation, because we can do everything on our own and that's great and carry the weight of the world. But as we all know, that's going to lead to burnout. So who else can we bring into this? Leverages resources. Now, there are a lot of times where, especially if you're starting to do your own project or your own situation, you're using your own money, you're using your own time, your own everything. So what is a way that we can leverage other people's resources so that we don't deplete ourselves? Additionally, can it be emulated? Something that can be replicated somewhere else, measurable with a concrete timeline. Now, this is huge because I can say, yeah, I want to create a needle exchange. Okay, well, when do you want to do that by? Oh, definitely in the future. Like that doesn't help. So if you're looking to get resources to come help you out, if you want to engage people to participate, you need to give them some facts, because people may not be as willing to walk into something if they don't know all the details. And additionally, you want to build capacity, because like I said, you can sit here and do everything on your own, which is a pain in the ass, to be quite honest. So if there's a way that you can build capacity, bring people in to help you kind of carry that burden, fantastic, because you will burn out if it's only you. So once you figure out your problem, once you figure out a goal, and again, you don't have to map out every single goal in the world, you can create a map of resources. And on the next slide, I'll actually show you what like the physical map, so to speak, looks like, but these are things you might want to think about. And I feel like this is like a common theme with everything, is who might be members of your constituency, because you really need to know who the people are that you're working for, because we may have this like idea, I want to help these people. However, do they want that help? Is it something that's actually warranted in the community? Because you might be thinking, how many times have we been, you'll see this if someone is unhoused and they're saying, hey, they have a sign up like, I could use some cash. And you think, you know what? I'm going to give them a sandwich. That is not what they wanted. That's not what they said at all. So if you're sitting there and you're saying, hey, I think this would be great for this community, this group of people, make sure that you're actually involving those people in your decision making, because you want to make sure that everything's in alignment with what the people actually want. Who might be your opposition? Well, in the instance of a needle exchange, surprise, the government, the police, whoever it may be, people who are the NIMBYs, the people not in my backyard, people who just don't want anything like that around. Who might be your allies? So allies can be people who, you know what, I work at a medical supply store, and when things, quote, expire, we just get rid of these, but we could donate them or give them to you and you can use them instead. Might be people who another ally would be someone who is offering up their parking lot and saying, yeah, absolutely, you guys can use this spot, you have my permission, fantastic. Who might be competitors and collaborators? So on the next slide, I'll have like a little blurb underneath each thing, and it's talking about if there is a competitor, they might be doing it a certain way. So you're both kind of fighting for the same sort of resources, which is what makes them a competitor. But a collaborator could be something that you can work with them. So say, for example, like if I have a needle exchange, but I understand that, you know, it'd be really great to get some food out here. Maybe there's another organization that I can collaborate with, have them come out. They're really great at sourcing food. They're really great at consistency with that. So how can we collaborate? Because these two needs are both needed by the same community. And then additionally, who might play other key decision-making roles? So that would be within your constituency. You're going to need leaders. I know a lot of times we want to say like, oh, we're all equal, but someone's got to start the shit. You know, someone's got to, you know, take charge in certain areas. And so you might want to think about who can be the point person with these specific items. And as you can see here, it's a very elaborate map, I know. So for example, opposition, they have the greatest interest in the status quo, meaning I don't want shit to change. I like things the way they are. Don't ruffle any feathers. Let's just kind of like keep it this way. Then you have the allies. So they like support the change, but they don't have any skin in the game. So for example, like the medical supply company, like I don't want to run a needle exchange, but I know you guys need alcohol wipes, so I can help provide that. And, you know, that's really all I really want to do. The competitors and collaborators, you're fighting for similar resources, but a different path to change. So here's a needle exchange, another needle exchange, another needle exchange, but they may do it differently. They may be in a different part of town. Maybe they incorporate other types of services. Maybe they incorporate testing, but just understanding that we're kind of in competition because resources may be limited. And then your constituency, which is the people who are directly impacted. These are the people who you are organizing the change for. And again, the key point to this is that making sure that who you are organizing the change for, you are bringing those people into these conversations. You are not, I think this is what would be best for you guys. You absolutely want to make sure that they have a voice in this and understand that their feedback is extremely important. So, told you I would not do a bunch of slides. I'm going to talk to John. Let me stop sharing. This is just like, cutesy. Here's his van. Here's his supplies in the back. I'm going to stop sharing. So Johnny is local. Oh, thanks. Oh, okay, cool. Or not cool. Are we spotlighted? I don't know what I'm doing. Whatever. It's fine. Add spotlight.
There we go.
Whatever. Can we? Yeah, there we go. We're having a convo. Great. Super. So Johnny has Giving Back AZ, and he is going to explain to us kind of what his process was. He does mobile outreach. So Johnny, if you want to start like with where everything began, or like what prompted you to do this, and we can kind of like just go through this similar sort of timeline.
Absolutely. So what prompted me to do this was, so I'm a recovering addict myself. I've been in recovery for a little bit now. Um, the reason that I found a passion for what I'm doing now is because I would have been considered a participant at the time if I knew services like this were even a thing, you know? Um, so the biggest thing is in very early recovery, I still felt like some stuff needed to be done, right? I think the best advice that I could offer anybody, especially when trying to start a new project or trying to start something new, is to get involved with a nonprofit that's already been kind of been doing something for a while. And honestly, that's what I did. I I never had a plan to start a nonprofit. I never had a plan to create my own thing. I never had a plan to do anything. Um, the reality is I just wanted to help in a way that I could, and I figured giving up my time was like the best I could do, right? And it really was. It was the best I could do at the given moment. So I started volunteering with a nonprofit that did do like it was a syringe service program. I don't want to call it a needle exchange because we weren't really exchanging needles or taking in used needles and then giving out new ones. We were just giving out clean syringes and harm reduction supplies at the time, um, which was really cool. Gave me a sense of like I'm doing something. I feel like I'm helping. More than anything, I felt like I was helping the people that I come from, right? Like the people that I have a very close relationship to because it's me, right? And it's me. Like I'm helping myself in a different area of my life. So what I did do was I started helping out with this nonprofit. Um, I I did it for a very long time. I got to see how things worked. I got to see how like what the process was. I got to see how this nonprofit did their thing. Um, and I really liked it. It was really cool. Again, I never had any plan on doing my own nonprofit. That wasn't my that wasn't the grand scheme of thing. It wasn't like my mission to do it. Um, I just I just wanted to do something good. Um, it wasn't even about doing something big. I just wanted to do something good. So um, what did happen though was while I was doing this, I learned a lot of new stuff, right? I learned how a nonprofit operated a little bit. I learned how supplies were got. I learned how people reached out to different distributors and which distributors did help, which ones didn't, um, which ones were a little bit more helpful than others, which ones came with strings attached and which ones didn't, right? Um, and I did that for about 2 years with the nonprofit. Um, and the biggest change was when my idea started taking place, where I was like, hey, I really like the idea that we are doing this. Um, but I saw where there could be some modifications made, right? We live in Arizona. It is 117 degrees some days. And I've personally known participants of ours that have passed away due to heat stroke. Um, and I was like, you know what we should do is we should get some water. I was like, why aren't we carrying water around? Um, right? Like it wasn't a thing that the whole nonprofit as a collective did. It was just something that I was like, I'm gonna get some water. Like I feel like I need to get some water for these guys and gals and everybody else. There's a need for it, right? Um, and me filling that small need kind of snowballed. I started thinking about other things of being like, well, what else am I seeing or what else am I hearing people that are asking for that we don't offer?
Mhm.
Um, so I started listening. I started trying to fill those needs little by little, right? Um, I also want to preface this. I do run this nonprofit. We do get a lot of stuff. We do hand out a lot of stuff. We have never had any form of government funding or grants or any funding at all, period.
So,
The only way that we operate is from in-kind donations from just people. So people have been donating to us from the beginning. When I said I want to get some water, I pulled $40 out of my pocket, bought a couple cases of water, and and some ice, with an old ice chest that I had. And then I did that again for the next week. And then I was like, you know what? Like, I wonder if I put this on Facebook, I wonder if somebody will toss me $20.
mhm.
Um, and I had told Jaclyn this. I put it on Facebook, and I was like, hey, trying to buy some water. Gonna be going out and seeing some people on the streets. Would be like, it would be cool if somebody could donate like $20 or so. Um, and just with that little post, I think we got about $150, $200 within 10, 15 minutes. Um, uh, in the grand scheme of things, if you look at other nonprofits, that's not a lot of money. It's not a huge number, right? But for somebody just being like, excuse me, can somebody throw down $5, $10 so I can buy some water? Like it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Uh, Pretty good. So um, Facebook gave me a platform to start asking for things. Um, and that's exactly what happened. So I would say, hey, these people are wearing shirts that are pretty beat up. Like, does anybody have any shirts or shorts or anything that they want to give me? Um, and Facebook became my hunting ground. I would just throw it out there and be like, hey, who has this? Who can give me this? Like, does anybody have this? And people were like, yeah, I got, let me look through my closet. Yeah, I got a couple bucks. Yeah, I have some shoes, right? Because people were asking for very specific things, and those were the things that I was looking for. um, well, while I was doing those things, we went from being just a fixed site, and in the nonprofit that I was working with before, they were like, hey, why don't we go mobile and go check some stuff out? We used to do this a long time ago, and I did it, and I liked it a lot. um, so I started doing it out of my own truck. We would put stuff together. We would go out and we would be mobile. I would go out and I'd start looking for the people, right? The people that needed what we offered. I wasn't going to go and talk to somebody at a school or something like that, right? I was looking for the places where the people that needed us congregated, and again, I was finding the need and I was trying to fill it. Well, um, we have had by this point, it looks really cool. Like I wouldn't make huge posts about it. It wasn't like a big thing like, hey, look at what we're doing. But word of mouth travels really, really fast. And people heard that we were doing some really cool stuff, and people wanted to be a part of it. It gave uh, right. It's a very gray area of like morality, I guess. And I don't see it that way, but like some people do. So they're like, oh, I want to get involved with this because it's kind of like, it's kind of like chaotic good stuff. Like it's
Yeah.
good, but like it's bad, but it's good, but it's bad, right?
Right.
Um, so it drew a lot of attention to a lot of younger people being like, I want to do that with you. Can I go do it? Um, which was also very cool. The van, yes, I am going to get to that. So we are going to talk about obstacles and problems, right? Well, when you are going around offering food and water and harm reduction supplies, and you're in a unmarked car, and it looks like you're just some dude on the street, and you're going to all of these public places, and there's groups of unhoused people congregating around you. I mean, that calls a lot of attention.
Mhm.
So our biggest obstacle has been and always will be the police, the park rangers, and the government. Um, we would get stopped by police. We would get stopped by park rangers. Um, they do not like what we do. Um, but here's the reality of the situation: is if I was doing something bad, I would have gotten arrested by now.
Mhm.
Um, and that's how I felt internally, and that's what I portrayed externally. Um, and I told them, cool, man. Like, if I'm doing something wrong, then either write me a ticket or put me in cuffs. If not, you can leave. Right? Like, you're scaring away my participants, man. Like, you can roll out. Um, I have a very deep passion for this stuff because of where I come from, right? The lifestyle I lived, the things I did, the people I congregated with. There's a very if you don't have passion in what you do, I'll tell you right now, you're gonna fail. There has to be some passion behind what you're doing. Um, and sometimes passion can come out as aggression, right? But the reality is you have to be aggressive with what you want. Um, because if you don't, nobody's going to be aggressive for you.
Mm.
Nobody's going to be passionate for you. Um, well, we had this obstacle, right, where we were getting stopped because I was driving an unmarked car. We were doing this, we were doing that. Um, we had park rangers come up to us. The city of Mesa passed a bill saying that handing out waters for free at any public park was punishable by fine or incarceration. Um, so that is a thing.
Is that the Johnny
So
bill?
I wish it was. I wish they would have named it after me, but they did pass. They did pass a bill or
Like
whatever.
an ordinance or
So
whatever. Yeah.
yeah, an ordinance. They
Mhm.
passed an ordinance, um, and the day after they passed it, we were out there, and one of the park rangers came up to me, who me and him have a good beef going, and was like, "Here are the papers. Here's the ordinance. Do not come back," because he had told me a couple months beforehand that it was going to pass, and that I needed to be ready to never come back to the parks again. Well, let me tell you something. Passion and aggression are two sides of the same coin, and I took it as a very personal thing. Um, Nobody's going to tell me how I can help.
Mhm.
Nobody's going to tell me what I believe to be the difference between right and wrong. So what did I do? Um, I got on OfferUp. I started looking at vans, and I hit up every single person with a cargo van on there and was like, "Hey, I have a nonprofit. We're looking for a van. Are you willing to work with us? Hey, I got a nonprofit. We're looking for a van. Are you willing to work with us?" Boom, 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 boom. Right. Um, the cool thing is, at this point, and I skipped over this. Right. If you continue to do the right things, people will come to you. Right? It's not even a searching game. It's not like I need to find a person that does this. I need to find a person that does this. If you're doing something, if you're doing something and you're doing it correctly and you're doing it with your heart in it, people are going to show up and people are going to want to help. And that's just the truth of the matter. You will attract what you're putting out, especially in the nonprofit sector. So at this point, people have been watching us. We have caught people's eyes. I had somebody come up to us and be like, "Hey, why are you not a 501c3 yet?" And again, like I said, we were not in the position. I was not in the position to be like, "I'm going to start a nonprofit." The reality is, I really like what I'm doing. I really think what I'm doing is cool. People want to come out with us, which I think is really cool because it just shows me that what we're doing is right. Somebody reached out to me and said, "Hey, I have a CPA firm. Could we file for a 501c3 for you guys?" They're like, we see that you're not a nonprofit yet." And I was like, "Yeah, I don't know how much that costs. We don't really have funding. We don't have money." Um, and in the end, he was just like, "Hey, man, don't worry about the money. We just want to do this for you."
That's
Right.
awesome. Hmm.
Um, and that's the truth. Like, from the beginning until this point now, I've never pushed super hard on anything unless I'm fighting for my people, and that's usually against politicians and police and park rangers. um, but everybody else has shown us some level of support. Right, at this point, we have our 501c3 because this gentleman went out of his way and did this for us for free. And then I started hitting people up on OfferUp and was like, "Hey, we need a van. We need a van. We need a van. Will you work with us?" Um, Lo and behold, somebody's like, "Oh, that sounds interesting. Like, can you tell me a little bit more about it?" I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely, man." I showed him what we do. I gave him our Instagram. I gave him like I was like, "Look, this is what we're doing. Like, this is me. This is kind of what we stand for a little bit. Like, we don't have a whole lot of money, man, but we need something, right? Like, we need something." And he looked at it. He looked at us. He saw what we were doing and was like, "You know what, man? Like, yeah, let's do something." Um, he donated. We paid him, but we paid him way under what the van was worth. Um, the van itself was probably at the time worth like maybe 10 grand or so, um, because of mileage. It was an older van, but it had no miles. It runs great. I've never had to take this thing in to get serviced or to have anything done to it. We've never had a mechanical issue since we've had it. Um, but he gave it to us at a very, 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 very good discount. Um, and we were also able to give him a donation form and be like, "Hey, man, can you at least take this? Like, use it for your taxes." You know what I mean? And he was like, "Oh yeah, absolutely." Um, but the reality is, you're gonna get what you put out. I was able to put out enough stuff up until then that when I started asking for something a tiny bit bigger, right? And this was some old boat captain that lives in Sun City that's retired and lives in a mobile home. You know, his name was Captain Ron. I still remember him, Captain Ron. So, but he was like, "I really like what you guys are doing, man. This is really cool." Um, and he gave us the van essentially. He gave us the van essentially. Um, when we got the van, I went to Facebook again and said, "Hey guys, check it out. We got a van. Um, we need to buy insurance and registration. Like, could someone help?" Um, and we had multiple people be like, "Yeah, how much is it?" And we told them like, "Hey, registration costs this much and insurance costs this much." And within the same day, again, people were like, sent us some money, and we were able to pay for registration and insurance for the van. You know,
Awesome.
um, that van gave us more of an opportunity to where we can load in more stuff, right? And at that point, if I got more space, I'm going to try to fill it.
Hmm.
So I started asking for more stuff. I'm like, "Hey, can you guys give me this now? Like, hey, people are asking for this. Hey, we have a ton of room in the van. Like, who has clothes so I can load up this thing with clothes?" Um, and it's been like that since. It has been like that since, right? I am very much so a trial by fire guy. There are a lot of people that strategize. There are a lot of people that come up with plans. There are a lot of people that have to get absolutely everything right and get it in the place that you want it right before you can execute. I am not that guy. Um, I am chaotic. I am impulsive, and I love, love, love negative stuff. When we started doing this, people started giving me the negatives, right? And not in the sense of like, "You're not going to be able to do it. This isn't this," or like, "You guys are going to fail." I've never had anybody tell me that stuff. Um, but what they did, the negative stuff they were telling me is like, "Hey, what about if this happens? Hey, what about if this happens? Hey, what about if this happens?" Again, I'm impulsive and I take action, and I have a very good follow through. Um, so when I do those things, I already have it in the back of my head, like, "Oh, so and so said this might happen. So and so said this might happen. So and so said this might happen." So I have an alternate plan for whatever, you
Hmm.
know. And I love to play it by ear, because the reality is, I've never been a person to learn from achievements.
Mm.
I never ever ever learn a lesson when I achieve something great. I never ever learn a lesson when I do something good. I never ever learn a lesson when things are going good in my life. The only time I ever learn is when I make mistakes, pardon my French, when I fuck things up, when things go completely wrong.
Hmm.
It's the only time that I'm ever given the opportunity to change, adapt, overcome, and then maybe then I achieve. It's the truth.
Hmm.
It's the truth. I don't live in a perfect world. Um, the nonprofit sector is absolutely not perfect. There are obstacles, there are changes, right? Um, I have no control and I have no power over anything that's ever going to happen, especially in my life, in my nonprofit stuff, with my volunteers, with my participants. The reality is, I can become open-minded and I can be adaptable, and that will absolutely lead me to a level of achievement in a nonprofit sector, or I can be closed off, and be completely headstrong and be like, this is how I'm going to do things, and I can fail, and then I either learn or I continue to fail until I do learn.
Mm.
Um, I've had a lot of very cool things happen with this nonprofit, and all of the cool things have been a direct result of a failure, a direct result of something going completely not my way. Um, right in the perfect world, I would say, hey, I need money because I want to do this project, and people would give it to me, right? The reality is, I'm going to say, hey, I need money, and people are going to be like, who the fuck are you?
Right.
That's the truth, right?
Mhm.
So I have to adapt, I have to overcome. So I go, what can I do? I can do waters for now, and
Mhm.
I can do them out of the back of my car. That's really easy. I have a car, and I can get water, and I can buy ice, right?
Yeah.
Um, the ability to be consistent, right? Consistency is very much key in anything you do in life, and that definitely, absolutely can, uh, bleeds into the nonprofit stuff. It will absolutely be a key role in whether you achieve or you fail in nonprofits. Is you have to be consistent. Um, doesn't matter if you don't see anybody. Doesn't matter if you only see one person. It doesn't matter if you see 100 people, right? You build consistency in your routine for the nonprofit, and you build consistency for the people that you're serving, right? The people that you're helping. Um, in the sector that I deal with is the unhoused sector. There's not a whole lot of consistency there. So
Mhm.
if they know that I'm going to show up on a Wednesday at 7 o'clock, it's clockwork, and it's something nice for them because it becomes routine. Now, not only am I offering a service, but I'm offering something that they don't get very often, which is consistency,
Yeah.
right? Um, we get to show up, we get to have conversations, we get to do all of these things. Um, I like what we do. I love that we get to hand out stuff. Um, I haven't touched on this yet, but the main reason why we go out and do this is because a lot of these people don't know that there are other options out there, right? Not only do I build relationships with the people in my community, right, that need us, our participants, we build a relationship with other organizations, right? I have built relationships with organizations that anytime I call, I say, "Hey, man, I think we need this kind of stuff. Whatever you need, Johnny, just come and pick whatever you need up." You know, I have codes to warehouses that so I can just show up and pick stuff up. Um, our reputation for being reliable and being consistent and doing what we say we're going to do has led to massive doors opening for us. We don't need government funding. We don't need grants. What we need is connections within our own community. And those people will absolutely help us anytime we need something. We do food. So who do we get hooked up with? Midwest Food Bank. Anytime we need food, we go to Midwest Food Bank. We pick up food and drinks if they have them. Anytime I need water, Gatorade, among a whole lot of other stuff, the Eris Foundation gets with us. Anytime I need needles, pipes, Narcan, harm reduction supplies, I can call up SBW and get stuff that we need. Anytime I need anything specific, I can jump on Facebook and be like, hey, does anybody have this specific thing? I have somebody asking for it. And usually within a day, I have somebody being like, I do have that. How can I get it to you? Right. Um, it has become this beautiful, beautiful thing that in all reality spawned from, I should probably bring water out with me because it's really hot and people are dying.
Yeah.
It took $4 to buy a 30 pack of water.
Yeah.
It took $2 to buy a bag of ice and
Yeah.
everything else I had. It doesn't take much to achieve something as long as you're willing to go through the failures, as long as you're willing to overcome and walk through it and stay adaptable and stay open-minded. The answer is never going to sit right in front of your face. Like, that's the truth, right? If the answers were always given, nobody would have problems.
Yeah.
And I can guarantee every single person in this Zoom meeting has overcome one issue or another that's huge, huge. If you're able to overcome personal problems that are massive in your own life, why wouldn't you be able to overcome small problems that you're going to run into when you have to do something big for other people, right?
Right.
I think it's great. I love negative. I love negativity. I love it. I love it because I thrive in it. I used to thrive in chaos. I used to thrive in negative attention. I used to thrive in the negativity of the world. I was a negative person for a very long time. Come to find out, I change a little bit, things get a little bit better. I still love the negatives because now I have this change in mind that I'm like, dude, this is where I learn.
Mm-hmm.
They were only negative before because I didn't want to learn from it.
Yeah.
Now if I fall into a negative space, I'm like, damn, dude, this really sucks, because let's be honest, it does. But after a little bit, after feeling the suck, after feeling the negative effects of it, whether I'm sad or afraid or anxious, or you know what I mean, any of the feelings, after that, I can sit and go, okay, man, this really sucks, but what do I have to do now? Like, do I have to change something about me? Do I have to change the way that I'm interacting with this thing? Do I have to change the way that, like, the ideals, right, that I have over here? Like, what do I have to change to make this an actual positive outcome? Because it sucks right now, man. And as much as I love negativity, I don't like feeling negative.
Yeah.
So what do I do? Um, I talk to people that are helping me, because let me tell you, man, this brain is one way only. I don't have the ability to think outside of how I think.
Yeah.
So I have volunteers, I have other organizations, and I'm like, hey, man, this is the issue I'm running into, man. I don't know what to do, right? Like, oh, well, have you tried this? Nope, sure haven't, but I'm about to. I'll let you know how it goes, right?
Yeah.
Having open and honest conversations with other people, right? Like, I like to assume that everybody's in this for a good thing. Is everybody? No, but I'm going to keep assuming that, because even if you're not in this for the right thing, you might still be able to give me a really good idea to make whatever I'm trying to do happen, man. Because I want my thing to be in the right place, right? My heart's in the right place, and I want the actions of this nonprofit to be in the right place. You can be a shitty person and still give out good ideas, you know? Like, it's life, man. It's
Can
life.
we put that on a shirt?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's very cool to be open-minded. I love when other people have their 2 cents to say. Am I going to take am I going to agree with everything you say? No. Right. But even those people are the ones that I like to have conversations with, man. I want to have the conversations with the people I don't agree with. You know why? Because, again, if you say something and it changes my mind, then fuck, man, you just changed my mind. I'm never going to have that conversation with somebody that thinks and agrees with everything that I do.
Yep.
I'll never have that opportunity then. It's just like, there's so much crazy stuff that happens in the nonprofit sector. There's so much good, there's so much bad, but you got to take it in both. You got to take both in. And I personally have to be able to learn from both, right? The reason why I didn't like the last nonprofit that I worked with was you spoke about leadership. It was a collective. There was no leadership. There was no real structure. And if I'm being completely honest with you guys, like that made it very, very hard to make big decisions.
Yep.
So I made sure that we have some form of structure, right? Do I take other people's opinions into account? Absolutely. Do we still vote on things? Absolutely. But in the end, when I have to pull the trigger, I pull the trigger. I'm not
Yep.
just sitting around waiting for a collective to finally agree on something.
Yep.
Um, it, I have to be able to make decisions, right? And again, as long as I stay open-minded and willing to take on other people's opinions, then I can make a decision with the most information possible, which gives me the best chance at making the best decision, right? Whether it's a negative, whether it's negative or really good, like the conversations and the opinions have to be there so that I know how to make the right call on something.
Hey,
So far, so good. You know, being honest, so far
yeah.
so good. We've had our little struggles and stuff, but like in the grand scheme of things, like what, maybe bumps in the road,
Yeah.
but we're not struggling. We have no money. We don't struggle. We have a ton of people that want to help and everybody shows up.
Yeah.
Um, it's a very amazing thing what just going out and doing the right thing with your heart in the right place will do. It absolutely will attract. You will
Absolutely.
absolutely attract what you put out. I've been proven that time and time again. Because if it wasn't right, if it wasn't true, this shit would have went under a long time ago, right? Our 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 mission statement is healing the community through unity. All I want is for people to come together because when people come together, real healing starts happening. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like real shit starts changing, real cool stuff starts happening, man. Conversations happen, the ability to find information and resources happen. Um, we again with the friends that I've made throughout doing all of this, I have personal friends in detox centers. I have personal friends that are psychiatric nurse practitioners that will take people on a sliding scale or free, even if I'm calling, I'm like, hey, you need to do this for me, right?
Yeah.
I have I have friends in inpatient rehab centers. I have friends in outpatient rehab centers. I have friends in sober living homes, halfway houses, right?
Yep.
The people that saw what we do are attracted to me. And when I say, hey, man, so and so is ready for a change and this is what they want to do, right? Not what I think they need to do, but they're like, hey, I think I want to do this. I know exactly who to call. And I go, hey, man, I got somebody here that wants to do this. Like, make it happen for me, please.
Yeah.
Lo and behold, it happens, you know?
And I think like the big piece of this, and I'm just gonna say we have like less than 5 minutes left, 3 minutes, whatever. I honestly could listen to you talk forever, but just the simple part of just asking, I think a lot of people are just afraid to ask. Because if you think about it, like, what's the worst that can happen? They say no, the end, you move on. So, in these last couple minutes, though, if I don't know if anybody has any questions, I don't know if you saw the chat, maybe not. There's a lot of love in the chat for you and all the shit that you do and your passion. Casey, for sure. Let me you're good.
Okay, I have to say something. Jonathan, are you willing to be contacted outside of this meeting? Like, can I
Oh,
reach out to you?
absolutely. I mean, I'll put my phone number in the chat for you guys.
Thank you. You're really
Yeah.
inspiring. Like, I'm amazed. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Let me put this number in here for you guys.
And I love that Johnny's just like, here's my personal phone number. Here you go.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
absolutely.
I love
Absolutely. Anytime. Anytime.
um
I I like what I do. So if you want to
Yeah.
talk about it, let's talk about it. I want to see people do cool shit too. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
There's
absolutely.
there's so much cool stuff that happens outside of what I do, and I'm always in awe. I'm like, how did you do that? Like,
Yeah.
you know, that's so cool. I get very excited very easily, by the way, guys. Just so you know.
Well, that's
Uh,
what I liked about like this you're the perfect person to do this topic because it's like recovery advocacy projects can like give people all the tools and the mapping out stuff. I'm somebody that needs to like make lists and kind of map stuff out. But then there's just people that just need like, how do you start something? You just go start it. How do you do something? You just go do it. And if you fail, or if there's a setback, you adjust. And I remember when we first talked, Johnny, you're talking about how they had that local ordinance to keep you out of the park. So you just park the van across the street out of the park.
yeah.
I did the same thing and talked to the same people and did the same service. And so you knew what the rules were. You learned the rules of your local community and how you can like push it up to the edge, but not like totally break the system of what was happening locally and continue to do the right thing. And the first thing that we asked people when we started this series was like, just think of an idea. And then all we're asking you to do is just go share it with somebody. You know, like
Mhm.
put it, like don't let it live in your brain. Put it out there and start finding your people to help you put it into action. And so, thank you, Johnny. I didn't know if you wanted to respond to that, but I just wanted to say thank you for that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm a convicted felon, so learn the rules, find the loopholes. Best advice you'll ever get. Find the rules, learn the rules, and find the loopholes. Just make it happen.
Yeah, I love that.
My favorite.
I know we're at time. I'm down to stay a few more minutes. Does anybody else have any questions, comments, anything like that? Even just direct questions, like if you're thinking about starting mobile outreach in your area, anything at all. Or maybe if you just want to give a comment and just tell Johnny how awesome he is, you can do that too, wherever you want.
Yeah, we do. It's givingbackaz.net. We're working on getting a .org, but givingbackaz.net.
And
All of our social medias are Giving Back AZ.
and additionally, Nikki said earlier in their chat, she is a social worker, SUD clinician near Phoenix, and she's down to help. So again, just like telling your story. And I think that's the importance is we always talk about you need to build relationships, because if things are truly transactional and you just come to me and go, hey bro, like I need like $5, and then you don't tell me anything and then you never talk to me again, guess what? I'm not gonna fucking talk to you again. But if you build this relationship, Johnny and I did work with the same organization that he was talking about previously. And there was a point where between Christmas and New Year's, there was going to be massive rain and I was going to be doing outreach. And so I just posted on Facebook again, and I went, yo, we get about 50 60 participants per night. I just need 2 nights covered, so I need like 120 ponchos and blankets. Could y'all help? This is about $200 each. I ended up getting $1,000 in 30 minutes. So don't ever underestimate the power of asking, and especially just building these relationships. People know I'm passionate about this shit. So yes, they know the money's actually going to go to that and not some fucking Amazon order for my own shit. They know I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do. So I think it's super, super important. Yes, Nikki did donate. Thank you. I appreciate that. But just the point that if you just put it out there and be transparent about it, because there are some nonprofits that are like, we would love for you to donate. And I'm like, where does this money go? And they're like, it goes to education. Education about what, bro? It's like, it's going to go to an espresso machine. Is it going to go to this? So like when you're doing shit within the community, your money is going to actually go to someone that's going to use it for good. So I think that's the other thing too, is really being transparent. I need this help in ABC. Johnny was like, I need a van. I'm not going to use my car, And
I used my
regardless,
car for a long time too. So the reason I was like, we need to get a van was because we needed something a little bit more like
roomy.
organized wise and roomy, but also just because it was like I was really running my truck ragged after a
Yeah.
while, and I was like, we need something else. Like we need something else that we can do more stuff with. So
Absolutely.
that was the main reason. That, and also because they did that big old fuck you ordinance to me. And
Yeah.
I was like, that's cool, man. You guys don't want me at the park anymore? Now I'm gonna go to every single park. So how do you like that?
And I'm gonna park
That's
across the street of every single park.
yeah, that's spite fuels these veins sometimes. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, I'm like, it's like that. All right, cool.
Yeah.
We'll make it happen.
And I think that's a huge thing, is like a lot of people are driven by, you tell me I can't do something, yeah, watch. And on top of it, I just love that it started, like, you should do a fucking TED talk, like it started with like, I just need water. I just need water. And then it went from there. So I hope that everybody on the call feels a little less intimidated about creating a project within their own community. You don't need a grant writer. You don't need XYZ. You don't need all these things. You don't need to officially file as a nonprofit. Maybe someone will just randomly go, yeah, I could do this shit for you, and you're like, cool, I don't want to do this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And, if you guys are ever in Arizona, come check it out Wednesday nights.
Yeah, absolutely.
Johnny, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you coming to talk to us. I appreciate everyone who stayed later on. Make sure you grab Johnny's phone number. Use
Please
that
do.
respectfully.
Please
And
do.
Aaron, I don't know if you have anything else, but I just want to thank everyone for coming out. I know it's a long weekend, and Serena said that someone donated an attorney. Like, that's legit to have legal services, and that shit ain't cheap. So
Yeah.
You can get things done.
Yeah.
It's really cool what you get to see happen when you start doing cool shit.
Yeah.
One of our volunteers just left to law school to study, to be able to fight for the people that we take care of.
Yeah.
And she said that when she's done, she wants to offer free legal services to us because we now hold like a very special place in her heart. You know what I mean? It's so weird how stuff happens.
Yeah.
Uh,
And Casey, I love, like, already you're creating the page, calling your friend, doing all this, like, just this alone. I love that you already have spawned someone to start doing shit.
Love it.
So, yeah.
Love it. That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's all it takes.
Exactly.
Start.
Pull the trigger. Just pull the trigger. Whether it's a good
Yep.
idea or a bad one, just pull the trigger.
Yeah.
Just do it.
You're off.
If,
Go.
if it's bad, you'll figure it out.
Yeah. Exactly. All right.
That's a perfect way to end it. Just go. Just all right. Now you're free. Just go.
Go free.
Good. Thank you, Johnny.
go do
Thank you, Jaclyn.
Thank you guys so
appreciate
much for
you.
having me.
Everybody, this will be in the recovery classroom.